Hi, I'm Christina Taylor from Christina Taylor Books, and I'm here today to read you an extract from Jemima Small versus the Universe. This is written by Tamsin Winter. It's her second book that was published by Usborne, her first being Miss Nobody. Both these titles have been sellouts. They are our bestsellers, and they are absolutely wonderful, important titles for our young people. I would recommend them for Year 5, in particular Year 6. This book covers young girls in particular, empowering them. It covers body issues, it covers bullying, it covers friendships. It encourages our children to always speak out and to believe in themselves. I'll just read you the back. So Jemima Small is funny and smart. She knows a lot of things, like the fact that she's made of 206 bones, over 600 muscles and trillions of cells. What she doesn't know is how that can be true, and yet she can still sometimes feel like nothing, or how being made to join the school's special healthy lifestyle group, also known as Fat Club, can feel any less special. Jemima also knows that the biggest stars in the universe are the brightest, and maybe it's her time to shine. This is revealing and empowering. Tamsin writes, "The book is dedicated to everyone who has looked in the mirror and felt like nothing. I hope this story reminds you that you are not nothing. You are everything." Okay, so I'm just going to read chapter 1. I'm going to tell you the word that ruined my entire life. Big. Jemima Big. Jemima Big. Jemima Big. Jemima's as big as a whale, which is completely stupid. Even the smallest species of whale is 2.5 metres long and weighs 181 kilograms. But it's pointless telling anyone that. People at my school don't care about facts. They still say I look like one. They still call me Jemima Big, when my name is Jemima Small. It's typical of my life that I look like the exact opposite of my name. And you can't change your name when you're 12 because the government doesn't let you. Not without your parents' permission anyway. And considering I haven't seen my mum since I was 6 and my dad never lets me do anything good, it's not going to happen. Begging doesn't work with my dad, neither does emotional blackmail. He's unsympathetic to my problems, mainly because he doesn't believe I have any. Even though she left, I wish I had my mum's surname, Jemima Bouvier. Sounds a million times better than Small. Adjectives as surnames should not be allowed. When I was younger, I thought being the biggest girl in my class was the same as being the tallest, or having the longest hair, or being double jointed like Izzy Newman, who could bend her thumb all the way back so it touched her wrist. I thought my size was a simple fact of nature, like the freckles on my forearms and Izzy Newman bending her fingers into weird shapes at break time. Then there was this day on the beach when I figured out I was wrong, like majorly wrong. It happened during the summer holidays, a few months before I turned 8. Nana was staying at ours and Dad suggested we all go to the beach. We'd gone to the beach almost every day of the holidays anyway. It's like 0.4 miles from our house, so close I can hear the sea from my bedroom. Which might sound good, but it's the reason we never go on a proper holiday abroad. Dad thinks going rock pooling, then putting 2 peas in the coin pusher at the arcade counts as a summer holiday. It doesn't. It's technically staying closer to my house than going to school. The first bad thing to happen that day was when I came downstairs in my bikini. The straps were digging in, so I went to show Dad the red marks under my armpits. As I walked into the living room, Dad gave Nana this look I hadn't seen before. It was probably the exact same look the commander of the Apollo 13 space mission had on his face when he found out their oxygen tank had exploded, like, "Nana, we have a problem." Dad took me to Dolphin Bay Beachwear, this swimsuit shop on the promenade. Dolphins Bay, the name of the beach, it's kind of false advertising because you never see any dolphins there. My brother Jasper said he saw some through his binoculars once, but he could have been lying. It's the type of thing he does. Dad said dolphins sometimes come here to mate. So actually, I'm glad I've never seen any. The lady in Dolphin Bay Beachwear had penciled on eyebrows, I know, because one of them was slightly smudged, and she raised them as soon as we walked in. She looked down at my tummy and declared, "You're very round," in a voice that made it sound like a compliment. But when I looked up at Dad, he was smiling at her apologetically, as though the shape of my tummy was something he should be sorry about. He was standing right next to me with his hand resting on my shoulder, but suddenly I felt like he was galaxies away. "Puppy fat," he said eventually, and rubbed his beard like he always does when he doesn't know the answer. The lady said to me, "Never mind, dear, I have some swimsuits that will help disguise it a little." My cheeks burned and I felt intensely stupid, like that time in year 4 when Miss Reed discovered I could do long multiplications in my head. She made me stand at the front of the class and asked me to work out 391 times 39, but I got the answer wrong because this boy Dylan Taylor was making annoying faces at me and I forgot to add one of the carried over numbers. Miss Reed probably felt a bit stupid that day too. She'd got a new poster for our classroom that said, "A diamond is a chunk of coal that did well under pressure." I informed her that diamonds aren't even formed from coal. She said, "Motivational posters don't always need a factual basis, Jemima." Which probably tells you everything you need to know about Miss Reed. Luckily for her, a question about diamond formation didn't come up in our SATs, but knowing how diamonds are formed and doing long multiplication in my head didn't help me at Dolphin Bay Beachwear. I folded my arms over my stomach and followed the raised eyebrow lady to a rail of swimsuits, wondering why no one had told me before that I was supposed to disguise my stomach, and feeling utterly brainless that I hadn't figured it out by myself. She held up a black swimsuit, but Dad pretended to faint when he saw the price tag and told me to choose something from the sale rack, maybe because he didn't think I'd been humiliated enough already. When we finally got to the beach, I walked down to the plank with Jasper. It's this wooden platform that juts out to sea. No one knows who built it. It's been there for years. My dad remembers it from his childhood, so it could have been there for centuries. It was busy with tourists, so we had to queue up. The wooden steps were wet because of the sea spray. I walked up slowly so I didn't slip. The proper word for sea spray is spindrift. But if you call it that, people look at you weird. Jasper ran all the way along the plank and dived in. He always dives in. He says it's 7 metres high, but Jasper exaggerates everything, mostly his own intelligence. The sea below is about 7 metres deep. The plank's only about 4 metres above sea level. It still feels like a big jump though. I heard the crash of Jasper hitting the water, then walked carefully to the end of the platform and curled my toes over the edges. I watched Jasper's head emerge from the waves. He shook the water out of his ears and shouted, "Shark!" I ignored him. He says that every single time. The only sharks around here are basking sharks and they don't even attack humans, so he was being doubly stupid. I took a deep breath, pinched my nose and peered down at the water. Then I heard a voice behind me. "A whale more like," someone sniggered. "Yeah, watch out for the tidal wave." I wanted to tell them that tidal waves are caused by gravity, not by someone jumping off the plank, so it was an idiotic thing to say. But they looked a few years older than me and I was worried about my new swimsuit not disguising my stomach properly. Anyway, from the way they were both laughing, I could tell they didn't care about scientific facts. I took the edge of my swimsuit, trying to cover an extra centimetre of flesh. Then I heard someone else. It was only just louder than a whisper. "She's grotesque." But it wasn't someone young this time. It was a woman, about my dad's age. Her wet hair was swept back, and her swimsuit had shapes cut out of the sides, revealing a tummy that looked flat, not round like mine. She glanced at my stomach for a split second, then looked at her husband and shook her head. My brain stopped thinking about gravity and whales and tidal waves. I could feel their disapproval surrounding me, like water vapour condensing into tiny droplets and forming a fog. It clung to my skin, and suddenly I understood the look that Dad had given Nana that morning, and why I needed a swimsuit with brand new tummy-shaping silhouette flashing technology. I jumped into the sea and swam back to shore without stopping. Jasper called me a few times to come back, but I carried on, even though I was almost out of breath. When Nana asked why I was crying, I told her some boys had called me a whale. She rubbed a towel over my head and said, "Sweetheart, it's because whales are strong swimmers." But I knew she was lying. She gave me a packet of soft mints and Dad sighed extra loud and looked at her the same way he had the morning about my bikini. So I didn't say anything else. Maybe you think people can't weigh you with their eyes, but they can. Maybe you think people who love you don't lie, but they do. So this is part of the opening chapter of Jemima Small versus the Universe. She's a fantastic character. She goes through a lot in this book, but you will see that she's strong and empowering and wonderful and sparkly. And this is a great book for you to read, a great book about friendship as well and families. It covers bereavement, bullying. It's a really good book. I hope you enjoy.